Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm LookNessMonster, and a few weeks ago I made this video talking about the top 10 Star Wars Z Black Series figures that desperately need a remake, and in this video we're going to be revisiting that list and kind of expanding on it to make a part 2 because there are a ton of figures in the line that desperately need a remake apart from those 10. So let's go ahead and jump right into the number 10 spot. Of course, there's still over a week left to join our Crosshair giveaway. All you have to do is make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because you do have to be a subscriber to enter, and then all you have to do is comment on our Black Series Crosshair giveaway video. That'll be pinned in the card and linked in the description, and then I'll use a random comment generator to pick the winner, but there's not a ton of time left, so make sure to go check that out before you guys miss out. Of course, this is all my opinion, so this is what I personally think. If you guys don't agree, that's okay, but leave a comment down below what you guys think should be on this list. And coming in at the number 10 spot, I gave it to C-3PO. Now, C-3PO has been coming out in the line for a very long time now, and we have never gotten a new mold for this guy, so for starters, it would be nice to get an updated mold with some better articulation. The articulation is pretty bad. Now, protocol droids in the Star Wars universe don't have very much range of movement, so it's hard to kind of like to be mad at them for the poor articulation, but it's been years and years and they can definitely do a lot better, so I'm hoping some better articulation. But the main thing that I want is a brand new paint job. I want the chrome metallic look of 3PO. It just has such a dull gold color, and it is not like anything we ever see C-3PO look like. He needs that metallic look and that metallic finish, and it's something that we don't have yet in the line. Something like the Mayfix version has, and it looks great, so I'd love to see the Black Series do something like this and really make a definitive version of C-3PO. Coming in at the number 9 spot, I gave it to General Grievous. General Grievous is such an iconic character to Episode 3, and the figure we got is quite poor, and it just doesn't represent Grievous well. For starters, it is absurdly undersized. He needs to be another 2 inches taller and a lot bigger, so for starters, he's just way too small, but he has a lot of trouble standing up as well, and I know this is a problem with every single one. The ankle joints are just way too loose, and you have a hard time getting him to stand up, as well as the splitting arm gimmick. It just doesn't work super well, so I think they need to find a way to completely redo this guy, make him the proper scale, and fix the articulation with the ankles so he can actually stand up. But yeah, I think if they were to make a new mold of this guy, it could be one of the best figures in the line. Coming in the number 8 spot, I gave it to Hoth Luke, and I know right now all you guys are going down to the comments saying, no, we don't need any more Lukes, and I get it. We have a lot of Luke Skywalkers in the line, but a lot of these Luke Skywalkers are very old figures that really suck, and we need updated versions of them because those old versions are just absolute trash. For starters, we already have a lot of the molds for this, a part of the Hoth Rebel Soldier. All they would have to do is swap those out, and it would just make this a much better figure if they just swapped out those parts that have already been remolded. But the main problem with this figure is the face sculpt. The Mark Hamill likeness is very poor, and even in the updated archive version that does have photoreal, they added some kind of shiny face thing, and it just doesn't look like Mark Hamill at all. So if you just swap out the arms and legs with the Hoth Rebel Soldier legs, give him a new torso and a brand new Mark Hamill face sculpt, this could be one of the best Luke Skywalkers in the line, but they would just have to go ahead and put a little bit of work into making a new version, but I think they could do a lot of good with this figure. Coming in the number 7 spot is kind of cheating because there are several figures here, but I'm going to say all of the OG clone commanders in the Black Series, so that is Cody, Fox, Gree, Wolf, etc. All these original clone body commanders, which they look great, but their articulation is so poor, and they just don't stand up to the clones we have today. We really need these figures updated on the newer clone body, whether that's the 2020 version or the 2023 version. We need some sort of new mold for these figures, because quite frankly, the articulation is so poor on these guys, they can barely hold their weapons. Coming in at the number 6 spot, I 100% have to give it to Chewbacca. Now, we have several different versions of Chewbacca, from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, and all of these versions need an updated Wookiee mold. The Chewbacca mold we have is very poor, the articulation sucks, and the hair that they sculpted gets in the way. Now, we've seen what Hasbro can do with a brand new Wookiee body. They made a Black Satan figure, and it looks absolutely incredible, but Chewbacca hasn't got a new body since its debut back in like 2013, 2014, so he desperately needs some brand new sculpting because it is very, very poor, and all they really do is change out the head to fit that body, but that body is really, really bad. Coming in at the number 5 spot, I have to give it to two different characters, and this is the Shadow Stormtrooper and the Shock Trooper. And now we already have two molds for these guys, which look really, really good, but it's on the old Stormtrooper body, and I'd love to see these updated on the brand new 2020 Stormtrooper body. It is much better. It is the definitive Stormtrooper in the line, and I would love to see them update some of these different variations of the Stormtrooper, like the Shadow Stormtrooper, which is one of my favorites of all time. I love the blue and gunmetal gray. It looks incredible. And with the Starkiller SCCC set coming out very, very soon, it would be amazing to have this figure updated on that 2020 body to have fight your Starkiller figure. And of course, with the Shock Trooper, it's just a really cool design for a Stormtrooper, and again, it would translate super well over to that 2020 body. Coming in at the number 4 spot, I gotta give it to Bossk. Bossk is already a pretty good figure, but it's just an old figure, and it's held back by a lot of the old articulation of some of these 2013, 14, 15 figures, and the poor articulation just really holds this guy back, so he would definitely benefit from a brand new sculpt. I think that, again, the sculpting that Hasbro puts into these modern figures is incredible, and plus, they do such good jobs on the aliens, something like Bossk, Hasbro knocks out perfectly. If you combine that with a brand new mold by Hasbro, it could be, again, I know I say this a lot, but one of the best figures Hasbro's ever made, so it's about time. I'd love to see them remake this figure. Coming in at the number 3 spot, I have to give it to the IG units in the line, that being IG-88 and IG-11. For starters, the articulation on these guys are so incredibly bad. There is literally no, up and down at the shoulders or no out at the legs, and so it makes standing these guys up very difficult, and getting them into generic actual poses you'd see them in also very, very difficult. And another huge downside of this figure is that it's just incredibly underscaled. It needs to be bigger. It just is quite small for what it should be. And so this figure would definitely benefit from a new mold if they make it a little bit taller, a little bit bulkier, and they give it good articulation that the modern Black Series figures have nowadays. This could be another really, really good figure, but what we have now is just not making the cut. Coming in at the number 2 spot, I have to give it to Episode 1 Darth Maul. Now, Darth Maul is a very iconic Star Wars character nowadays. After his death, he does reappear in Clone Wars, as well as Star Wars Rebels, and since then, he has only grown in popularity. But we've only ever gotten one live-action version of him in the Black Series, that being the Episode 1 version, and he was a orange line figure back in 2023, and we have yet to see an upgraded brand new version of this figure since then. So because of that, the articulation is so incredibly bad, and the face itself is not great either. We've gotten some new molds, like I said, being the Clone Wars version, as well as like the comic book and even the Gaming Greats version. All three of them have some pretty solid face sculpts, so that is a good start on a way to upgrade this figure, but those are all different outfits, and we need the Episode 1 robes because it's the most iconic version of Darth Maul. If you go down to anyone on the street and you ask them, do you know Darth Maul, they think of the Episode 1 version, and we need an upgraded version of the Sith robes in the line. In the number 1 spot, this one is not even a tough decision. Everyone is screaming at me in the comments down below the last video, but it's got to go to Django Fett. The Django Fett we have in the line is horrible. The articulation is not good. He barely gets to 90. I don't even think he gets to 90 at the elbows, so getting those dual-wielding pistol look, it's just not easy to get with this figure. As well as the feet of this guy. They made the feet rounded, and so he has the worst time standing up. He is always the one to fall over on my shelf, and it is very, very frustrating. And the problem is, they keep reusing this sculpt for other figures like the Death Watch Mandalorian, the Muldalorian, and even the recently revealed Pre Vizsla. And we've seen what Hasbro can do with Mandalorian figures. We've gotten it with the Mandalorian Death Watch, we've gotten it with the brand new Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, and so much more. Hasbro always knocks it out of the park with Mandalorians, but for some reason they refuse to revisit the Mandalorian that started it all, Django Fett. I mean, I would love to see them do an upgraded version, kind of like the deluxe Return of the Jedi Boba, Give him the flamethrowers, the jetpack rockets, give him flat feet for one so he can stand up. But there's so many cool accessories you can give him, and it really, really makes a good deluxe figure. And it's something that it's one of those where everybody wants a new Django. Django's one of the coolest figures in the line, but the body just sucks, and they keep reusing it. So that's my list. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button and subscribe, and let me know down below what you guys think should be on this list, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.